Hello and welcome to the Art of Caro. In this video I'm going to be making some split drawers, and I'm going to be making them a bit longer than you usually will see. And there's a reason for that, and if you're interested in hearing that, just keep on watching, and if you think all the talking is annoying, just skip ahead a bit. I don't think making the split drawers as long as I want to make them is historically accurate. I've found some drawings that indicates that maybe long underpants or something like that was worn during the Regency era, because they have lifted like the hemline and you can see like a ruffle around the ankle, but that might be from like the shoes they're wearing or zippers or something, so I'm not sure. And I'm also seeing some pantalettes that's worn, I think it was 1830s, that goes down to the ankle, but I'm not sure of that either. The thing is, I find the split drawers really adorable, and I have made a pair. I'm going to put a picture here using this book, and they turned out lovely and they are great in the summer. The thing is, I don't like wearing clothes that constrict my, or like presses in around my leg from my calf up to my thigh. That area I like to have a bit more space around my leg, which is great in the summer when you don't get so cold. But in the winter, when you want to be wearing stockings and stuff to keep warm, that's not so great. And most of the evidence we have from the Victorian and Edwardian era is that they were wearing high stockings and then the split drawers or combinations. So the combinations went to slightly below the knee or above the knee, and then you had thigh-high stockings. And since I don't like wearing those stockings, I like my socks and I want to wear those. That means I have like a gap between my ankle and my knee where it's just bare skin if I'm wearing those split drawers. So I want to make some split drawers that goes down to my ankle and looks adorable, hopefully, that I don't mind peeking out underneath the hem of my skirt when I'm wearing skirt in the colder part of the year, because in Sweden we have a long period of cold weather. So I want to make this so I want to wear more on my skirts when it's cold, and also because I think they will be really cozy. And if you're wearing a corset and have split drawers, it's a lot easier when you have to use the bathroom and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm going to be using the pattern I made from this book. It's the pattern that starts on page 33, and the pattern looks like this. And I just have extended this following the pattern I made for my pants that's already up on my channel. And I'm going to sort of improvise along the way. And since I want this to be a warmer set of underpants or like split drawers, I'm going to be using this black flannel fabric. And I have a scrap here. I can show you. It's like for the pants I made, the outside is not fussy. Well, the inside is very nice and fluffy and cozy. So that's what I'm going to be making them out of, and I'm probably going to add a little bit of lace at the lower part of the leg of the drawers. So let's get into the making of this, and hopefully it will turn out as I hope. Yeah, These are the cut out pattern pieces, and they look a bit, it looks a bit weird, I admit, but I think it will come together the way it's meant to be. I'm going to fold up the pants legs and show you how it will look sewn together. Please ignore that sound if you can hear it. It's a big truck that's delivering something to the school across the way. It's 6 o'clock in the morning and I don't know why it's... Anyway, please ignore it. Hopefully you can hear me all right. So this is how the pants legs is going to be sewn together. And these are the cuffs. They're going to be sewn together like that. And then this portion of the leg is going to be slightly gathered down to it. Not a lot. I wanted it to be a bit slimmer around the ankle, since it's underwear. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm a bit worried with how slim it turned out in the end, but it should be fine. So I'm going to sew this seam, and instead of just sewing it all the way down like the instruction says in the original pattern, I'm going to do as I made in my pants, my slacks video, and just leave a gap here to get it over my foot. And then that's the waistband, and the waistband is the only thing that's going to hold the top of the pants together, because I know it's black on black, so it's probably not very clear. This is going to be hemmed, both the front and the back, and on the front it's going to overlap, and on the back it's going to be gathered together in the closure, and then this is just going to be left open at the crotch, so you can go to the bathroom really easily. Yeah, so that's it. Also, this is my new... Ooh, I'm going to turn off the light. This is the new lighting setup I got from my dad at Christmas. So, thank you, Dad. And that's good because I haven't been able to film in this part of my apartment without having some super big difficulties with the lighting, because this is like the darkest corner in my apartment. So that's great. I almost forgot, I have this small strip of scalloped lace left from when I made my chemise à la reine. Chemise à la... Yeah, I can't do the French pronunciation. Yeah, so I'm maybe going to put that here on the cuffs. Just chop it up at the middle and use it on each side, and gather it slightly to fit, and use that up, because it's not a lot left, so I can't do a lot with it. My cats are having a grand time destroying my curtains. The curtains are already wrecked from when they were kittens, so it's fine. I don't mind that they look a bit weird. But anyway, I'm maybe going to use it down here for some added decoration. I don't want it to be super frilly because I don't want it to be hard to pull my socks over it. And also, since this is an underwear video, these are one of my socks I prefer in the winter. Really fluffy and fuzzy and nice. But like all socks, even those, because the socks comes in a range, right? So they aren't perfectly your feet size. So it's like 36 to 38, and no matter which size I buy, even if it's just 36, 37, they're always too big for me. So it's just my heel is always, yeah. Anyway, I like to either put my pants or my long johns over my socks, or the socks over them. So if I want to put the socks over them, I don't want too much excess fabric beneath the cuffs that will gather up here. So yeah. It's 6 a.m. in the morning, and they are having their crazy time now, it appears. Maybe the lighting is tricking them into thinking it's later in the day. Yeah. So I'm going to start sewing. I start out with folding up the inside seam, like the crotch seam where you're on regular pants you just sew it up. Here the separate pant legs are hemmed at the crotch seam, so that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm stitching that down, and I'm sewing first the front and then the back on each pant legs at the crotch seams. And then I'm pinning together the pant legs and marking out where that slit for pulling on the legs are going to be. And then I'm stitching that and trimming the seam allowance so I can make a French seam. Which I'm doing now. And then I'm stitching down the seam a second time to make the French seam. Here I'm folding the seam allowance on that leg slit and stitching it down. And I'm just going across there where it's separated at the leg seam, and then where that is I go back and forth a bunch of times with a zigzag stitch to reinforce it instead of putting a little patch there. So I just stitch along there a couple of times, and then I am sewing 2 rows of gathering stitches, and then I'm gathering stitching some lace and attaching the lace to the cuffs, leaving the piece that's going to overlap without any lace. Here I'm just marking it, so when I'm pinning it down it will be easier for me to spread out the gatherers evenly. As you can see here, after I pinned it at certain points, I just pull it all together and then pull it out again to the length it needs to be, and secures the ends of the thread, and then I adjust the gatherers to make them even. And then I'm stitching that down to the cuff, just slightly within the seam allowance, and then I'm pinning together the 2 cuff pieces, sandwiching in the lace between them. And then I'm stitching the cuffs along the short sides and one of the long sides, the one with the lace obviously. And then I'm trimming off the seam allowance and cutting into the corners to make it easier to turn the corners out nicely. Yeah, and then I'm removing the gathering stitches I made on the lace, since they were showing outside of the seam allowance. I'm just going to run my cuffs under a quick press with the iron, but I don't feel like putting up my camera, and it also getting really short on batteries, so just imagine me giving this a nice press to prepare it for sewing on later, just in your head. I'm gonna go do that now. After I pressed the cuffs, I am marking out on the pant legs and the cuffs where they are supposed to be pinned together when I gather them, and then I start doing the pinning. And struggling a bit with the pant leg. Then I'm drawing together the gatherers, just as I did when I was gathering the lace to the cuffs. And then I'm stitching the pant legs to the cuffs. And then I'm stitching 2 rows of gathering stitches along the tops of the pant legs, leaving a gap at the beginning and the end. Here I'm turning up the inside of the cuffs and turning in the seam allowance and pressing it, and then pinning it down to the seam allowance. And then I basted the cuff to the pant leg. And hand stitch down that inner lining part of the cuff. Then I remove the basting and that second row of gatherers that are above the seam allowance. Then I'm turning in the waistband 2 times at each end to make a hem there, and then I'm stitching that down. Now I'm overlapping the pants legs, both legs of the drawers in the middle, and this is all in the instructions in the book. And then I'm pinning the waistband to the top of the drawers. And in the book the waistband is 2 pieces that you sew together at the front, and instead of doing that I just made 1 long waistband. Then I'm doing just the same as I've done for all other places where I have gathered the fabric, and just do some markings to make sure the gatherers will be spread evenly. And then I'm drawing together the gatherers, and I'm going to even them out. I find that I get nicer gatherers when I gather them together more tightly before I spread them out. And then I'm stitching the drawer legs to the waistband. And then I'm removing that second row of gathering stitches on both legs and stitching like a little roll hem on a tape, cotton tape. Then I'm folding down the seam allowance on the waistband, and then I'm folding the waistband in the middle and folding it down to where it's supposed to be sewn down later on, and then I'm pressing that as well. And this is giving me a line that's going to guide me when I'm now
pinning down the cotton tapes that I'm going to use for drawstrings. And I'm just I have had this 1 centimeter cotton tape that I folded in half and then sewed down, and I'm attaching that on the inside and then pinning on the outside between the layers, through all the layers as well, and then I'm pinning down the waistband. And here I'm sewing that drawstring channel and attaching the drawstring at the point that's furthest in. Then I'm basting the waistband to the seam allowance, and then I'm hand stitching down the inside of the waistband. Then I'm sewing some snaps to the cuffs, and I just needed to put 1 snap on each cuff because I made the band of the cuffs quite a bit smaller than I did on my pants, and these are fairly small snaps as well, so I can't really feel them that well against my my leg, which is great. And then I'm putting a really small snap on the like split at the crotch to keep the crotch overlap from opening up. And that's it. Before I do the reveal, I just want to say I have 2 shifts on and I have tights on, and that's not what I usually wear. It's just because this is going up on the internet, and one shift is kind of the shifts are kind of slightly translucent, and I don't want to be naked on the internet. And also the same reason that I wear the tights, otherwise I might do some accidental flashing. So yeah, so I'm going to do the real reveal now. Please enjoy! So that's the split drawer finished, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. They are really warm, and the snap I added in the crotch area ensure that they won't open at an inopportune time. And when you have your shift or chemise tucked in at the front and the back, you don't get any cold air entering where you don't want it. So it's really great, and the fact that they go all the way down to my ankles feels really comfortable for me, so I really enjoy it. As I said, I don't normally wear them with leggings and 2 shifts, but for the internet's sake I had to do that. And I also showed you how they look with pants over them, and the pants get kind of bulky, but I don't think they look too weird or like I mean, it's obviously not the usual look for those pants, but it's kind of nice effect, and it I was surprised that it didn't have more of a diaper butt look to it. So instead they just filled out sort of equally all the way around. So it just looks like really puffy pants, and I think that's a look, and I could probably wear that if I wanted to, provided I had a top that I felt went with the look. And I think they look really cute with the skirt, and I didn't put on a petticoat for this reveal, but with the layers of the petticoat and the outer skirt, it looks even more cute. So I think this is a win and a good experiment. If I want to do more in the future, I'm probably going to make them attached to a waistband that I can put on with hook and eyes or something like that, so I can make it overlap in the back instead of having a drawstring, and that way I won't have the sort of gaping problem in the back that I felt that I have had with these ones and with the white ones I made at first. And that's because it's not overlapped in the back, so it wants to open, which is great when you want to go to the bathroom, but not great when you just want to sit down on a chair. I mean, with the shift or chemise underneath it, it's not a problem, you're not getting exposed or anything like that, but it's still not like the way I want them to be, so that's something I will consider for the future. Yeah, but I think that's all for this project. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my videos in the future, you might want to subscribe and hit notification bell. May the stars shine upon your faces and have a glorious day. Thank you, and goodbye for now.